Welcome to Money Motivations with Meltrice, where your wealth is your power. It's about time that you had access to the tools, the experts, and the resources you need to build a life of your dreams. My name is Meltrice, and I am on a mission to redefine generational and community wealth for thousands of people across the country. Why? Because wealth gives us confidence, freedom, and the power to reshape our communities. I am demystifying finances so you can reach your goals without struggle or confusion. Each episode, you'll hear financial strategies with real-world experiences so that talking about finances doesn't feel taboo. Now, if you're ready to carve out a new path to the financial freedom you deserve, then tune in and I'll take care of the rest. Welcome to this episode of Money Motivations with Meltrice. I am so excited about the guest today. My brother from another mother, my partner, my confidant. This is my boy. I rose with him. Today we are welcoming my partner, LaRese Purnell. I'm so excited. If you talk about financial literacy in our community and communities across the nation, LaRese's name is gonna pop up. He is my motivation. One of the reasons why I'm sitting here with you guys today, I would like to welcome LaRese Purnell to MQ'd. Hey. Welcome, my brother. Welcome.
Man, I walked in today. I said, what am I walking into? I am so godly proud of you today. It's when I, saw, this vision that you had just come alive. And today, just to be sitting, before you and be able to have a conversation about money. This is what we do every day, all day.
Yeah.
I say, we got a lot of people that, be capping out here. That's my word. Yeah. But, depending on what generation, that may be, kind of old school. But I would say we do this. We live this. This is what we do every day, all day. So.
Yeah, and I honor you for that, because we talk about it all the time. Like, people be like, your partner be so busy, and you like, other people go to the movies, other people go to dinner, and not that you don't, but other people do other things in their spare time. But you are on mission. You are on mission to do God's work and to teach literacy throughout our community so that people don't experience what you experienced.
That's right.
As you grew up. So tell us a little bit about the man behind the man, who you are. What are some of your motivations?
Motivations. Oh, my Lord. Meltrice, you asked me this question. We talk about this a whole lot. And I'll tell you, my kids are truly my motivation. And not to be morbid or anything, but, they were just home for spring break and we had a conversation, and I try to do that on a regular basis with them. I do a check-in, a gut check with them to make sure I'm going on the right path. So I asked them, I said, hey, guys, if Dad were to die today and you were at my funeral, what would you say about me? And the answers they gave me reassured me that I was doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And then the other motivation I have is I want to make my mother proud while she's here to see it.
Oh, yes.
And a lot of time we talk, we do things that unfortunately our loved ones aren't here to experience. And to me, I feel like I'm a part of her flowers.
Yeah.
Because she's the one who sacrificed her life, and not, weren't able to accomplish some of her goals to make sure me and my siblings were able to be elevate and do the things that we were passionate about. So again, when I do stuff, I always think, how would my kids would think, and then what would my mom say? And then, of course, my beautiful wife.
Yeah.
A great man cannot be great. Let me be clear. Cannot be great and experience all that God has for him without a great woman by his side.
Say that one more time.
So
I don't think men understand that.
Look, I mean, that woman really is my ride or die, like you are, and she really holds me accountable. She pushes me. She motivates me.
Yes.
When the world beats me down, like it happens a whole lot.
And we know it also well.
When, like my pastor says, our haters, our confused friends that are out there, have a lot of bad things to say about us, she's right there to say, baby, keep doing what you do. I see your heart. God sees your heart. So men, if you don't hear anything else I say today, is love that woman that you're with, honor her, build her, and don't make because your light is shining, because you shine a light on her, it does not dim yours.
That's right.
So keep on lifting her up, and I promise you'll see greatness in your life.
That's amazing. The Bible says a man that finds a wife finds a good thing.
Finds favor in the Lord.
And finds favor in the Lord. Yes. And you recognize that you get favor because of your wife.
That's right.
And she pushes you to greater heights. I tell women all the time, don't let a man bring you to his standards. God put us in their life to bring them up.
That's right.
To bring, even if they're already up.
Yeah, that's right.
They gonna go higher when they get a good wife.
That's right.
Oh, that's amazing. And I know you tell your story. You tell your story about experiencing homelessness a lot in a lot of your interviews. And is that also one of the things that drive you to go so hard, like you never want to experience homelessness again? Or is that what makes you like go so hard in the paint?
Oh, for sure. It's things like that. Humility. I ride by, and you know this, Meltrice. It's a Wendy's right on Broadway, so I don't have to say the name of the shelter. That you guys watch Pursuit of Happiness, and it was a movie to you. It was my life to me. So when Will Smith went in the bathroom with his son and he locked the door and he wanted to sit there with him, as a place to stay because they were locked out the shelter, I think about going into a Wendy's because we got to the shelter too late. We missed the bus. We got there. The Wendy's was open at 2 o'clock in the morning. The manager allowed us to come in, and she said, I'm going to lock the doors because we're closed, but you can take your child in the bathroom and do what you have to do until we get finished cleaning. And we had nowhere to go. And so for me, I ride past there whenever I'm in the city and I'm speaking. I ride past there to this day. Now my wife knows. She don't get mad no more. She used to be like, you're going the wrong way. I said, no, this is a me and God thing.
Yeah.
And so I would ride past her just to remind myself as I go in front of people that this is not a game.
Yeah.
So some people say, well, LaRese, you always have an angry face. You seem very aggressive when you're talking.
Yeah.
Because where we are as a community is not a joke. The statistics tell us that if we don't make a change now, we're going to go backwards. Now we might go backwards.
Yeah.
So again, for me, the motivation is to truly make sure people don't have to go through multiple birthdays in a year because they don't have no lights and they have candles and think it was a birthday cake. So yeah, so I thought I had a lot of birthdays, Meltrice, growing up, but I didn't realize we just didn't have lights.
Yeah.
So my mom, we kept candles on deck.
Yeah.
Candles on candles.
Right.
We had more candles than we had food at times.
I know.
So again, those are the sort of things that I do. I go back and see old places I live. I go back and talk to people that used to sow into me. And again, I don't want people to experience. The worst thing people will say is life should be our best teacher. That is a lie.
Yeah.
It is a lie of the devil that we should have to let people go through things that we've already experienced. So all we have to do is make sure we do not hoard the tools that God gives us. Our time, talent, and treasures should be given back, and we have a responsibility. And that's the true definition of freedom in our communities.
We are on the same page with that. I tell people all the time, money is power. And a lot of times we're out protesting because they're killing our people for breakfast, lunch, and dinner when they feel like it. And the cameras are rolling and they know it. That's and they're still killing our people. And we're protesting, but what we are not doing is protesting in our pockets, with our pockets. We're not protesting with how we spend our money. And I just truly believe that if we start to do that, we'll start to see change in our communities. What do you think prevent people from making good money choices, building legacy, building generational wealth, instead of spending money on stuff that they want that make them look good? What do you think prevent people from taking this as serious as we should take it as a community of people?
Nah, we can be here all night because that's a question I could
that's
unpack.
Loaded, isn't
that's
it?
Very loaded. But it was a great book that I read by a phenomenal individual and one of the greatest businessmen this country has, is Stedman Graham, which we have met with and talked and had conversations. He wrote a book on identity. And the reason why we have to look good and not be good is because we have no identity. So it's like we have to have the nicest car. We have to have the nicest house with no furniture in it because we really can't afford it. We have to walk into our tax person's office and have $100,000 and don't even have $100,000 in investments on your tax return. And then some of it is, let's be honest, we want people to build assets, but the first three letters in the word assets is we have to get off of that in order to build some assets. So some of us have to take some real responsibility in order to build wealth in our families, because we are on these phones 342 times on average. The average American sits on their phone. And you may say, well, how is that possible? Voicemail, email, text messages, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, YouTube. And the average person I ask when I go to HBCUs across the country, I say, how much time do you spend on YouTube? The average answer is 4 to 6 hours a day. 4 to 6 hours a day. Then I ask them, how much time do you spend on your wealth? And it goes crickets on me. So again, we have to take a little responsibility, but there is some historical context that we are hundreds of years behind, and we don't know what we don't know. What is the great saying? We can't be what we don't see. So if all we saw is mama and them be broke, how can we be great? So again, we can unpack that.
That was loaded. I'm taking that in. We can't be what we can't see. We don't know what we don't know.
That's right.
And that's why Money Motivations with Meltrice is so important.
That's right.
Because you won't have the excuse after listening to this podcast.
That's right.
So now what's going to prevent you from making the right decisions and building legacy? Give us 5 things that you think a person could do right now, today, that would make an immediate impact on their finances.
So I'm going to take you to foundation. When you look at social media, there's a lot of people teaching people how to get a bag. But you know where the real void is? The foundation of keeping the bag.
Yeah.
Oh, we deal with NFL players. We deal with celebrities. We deal with major corporations. We deal with the who's who, not just locally, but nationally. And I'll tell you, money is not the issue. No. It's the reason why 75% of people who leave the NFL go broke 5 years after, the NBA 3 years after, and people who hit the lottery in most cases go broke.
Yes, they do.
So how do you take in $500 million and still go broke? Because there's no foundation.
Yeah.
You build a house on sand, what does it do?
Sink.
It sinks. It's no foundation.
Yeah.
So again, I would say foundationally. So that's why, and we've had the conversation, Meltrice, on many occasions. People are like, elevate your conversation, LaRese. Well, guess what? I have the degrees to elevate us to whatever level you want to go to. We manage over 9 figures right here in the city of Cleveland. 9 figures. We don't break it down with numbers most times. We operate over 9 figures in this community that we manage. And I'll tell you, so we can go to all levels, y'all. But the foundation is what's going to build communities. So the first 5 I would say is, 1, if you don't know where your money is going, you can't get control of it. It is the cart before the horse. So budgets. Budgets. That's the new B word, budgets. And then I would say you want to build that credit. We got this great program we're working on called the 800 Club, where we're going to build kids around this country with the 800. So if you ain't talking credit at 13, then you ain't really talking about them building generational wealth. So if they're not on your American Express, if they're not an additional user, if you're not teaching them about credit and only teaching them about a debit card, then you're not building wealth really for your kids. So credit, building credit. And then I would say the next one is you have to have life insurance. You guys have heard me say this before. If you know me, like, how are we using GoFundMe? It was never made for that. I don't want to pull up to the funeral and have to drop a 20 in a hat. And I don't want families losing connectivity and not talking to their brothers and sisters for 20 years because they were fighting about the wash machine or didn't know where dad's Rolex was going. What brother was getting that? Because it's 5 brothers. We're not going to break it in pieces. So again, I would say life insurance, the last tax-free item that you can transfer wealth. Is we buy Jordans for the baby showers. Other communities buy life insurance.
Yes, they do.
So again, your phone, if I drop this phone right now, if I drop my iPhone right now, everybody in this room would jump right now. Oh my gosh, he dropped his iPhone. He probably broke it. But guess what we have on that? Insurance.
They make us have it.
But guess what we don't have on our lives in most families? Insurance. So we value that phone more than we value lives. More than we value. So life insurance. System. Absolutely. And then power of 5. You got to have, if you're going to build wealth, you have to have a team, hire people to do what they do. You don't hire a mechanic, to come crack your back. That's a chiropractor.
Right.
So again, you want to hire people that are on your money team. So your attorney, your accountant, your life insurance person, your banker, and your financial advisor.
Yeah.
You hire those people. I wrote that in my book, and I really emphasize you have those people.
And I use it everywhere I go.
Oh, hey, man, hey.
Power 5.
Let's do it. So, and then the last thing I would say is we talked about credit, we talked about life insurance, budget, investments. Don't leave free money on the table. Most people that are out here listening work a job or own a company. Don't leave free money on the table. We go into organizations, less than 23% of people that work for organizations that match the 401k are enrolled in the 401k. How is that? You get a raise, what you do is you pay yourself first.
That's right.
Don't take the 3% for yourself. You pay yourself first and make sure you set away for the future. So I'm gonna say one website that I think is important: SSA.gov, Social Security Administration.gov. So if you want a gut check, I want everybody to go that's listening to this, go there, put your Social Security number in. It'll tell you if you got injured today at your age, how much you would get in Social Security. Then what I want you to take that $1,200 or whatever they say they're going to give you and look at your bills you pay today. If it's $5,000, they say they're going to give you $1,200. Something happens today, you $3,800 short, and you have no investments. So I hope that's a gut check for you.
Oh, that's a gut check. All right. You know what's interesting is that they say the average Social Security benefit is like $22,000 a year,
right.
But the average cost of living is about $74,000 a year.
Right.
So how do you bridge that gap? Like you said, investing. Why are you leaving money on the table if your employer is going to match your 401k contributions? Why are you not getting that money? Why are you not getting that money? So what's interesting, one of the things you said was money is not the problem, really. It's really not the problem. A lot of times we think money is the problem of money problems, but I say all the time, it's seldom the problem. Usually a person has a people issue, a process issue, or a perspective issue.
That's right.
So one of the things that I experience a lot as I'm dealing with women and I'm coaching them about money and finances, I feel like that a lot of people have people issues. Yeah. So tell our audience, what should they do if it's the people that are closest to them that are preventing them from achieving the things that they achieve? And the reason why I'm saying that, because a lot of people be like, girl, you got to have this. You got to have you some rib. I experienced it myself. Because, partner, I tell you this all the time. Yeah. Like, because I came from such humble beginnings, I don't have, like, clothes and different things like that. I don't have a value for that. Right. I don't place value on that. I'm growing into a brand for myself, but it still has to be a very reasonably priced brand. Facts. And although I can afford something more expensive, so this is not a part of my value system. But a lot of people around me be like, why don't you have a pair of red bottoms? You can afford it. Or why you driving this? You can afford it. Yes, that's the beauty of it.
That's right.
I can afford it, but it don't define me, so I don't need it. But that can be very challenging for people to deal with that peer pressure, or the pressure around you to look a certain way, like you said, like an identity crisis. So what happens when the people around you are influencing you to make decisions that take you further away from what your financial goals are?
A statement I always make is the true power is knowing that you can. That is the true power. So, I have friends that, do very well across the country that I went to college with. I always say I'm the brokest friend. And they do very well in their companies. And I'm just joking. We're blessed as well. But, these guys are driving Ferraris, Bentleys, and all that in this point of their careers. And they're always like, LaRese, you love cars, which I have a real passion for cars. Yes. And, I really want to go crazy with it, but I have a balance because truly I have other priorities. And I realize, again, it's a good feeling when I know when I'm riding my homeboy's Bentley and I don't have to look like, man, one day I wish I could have.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there knowing that I can't afford it.
Yeah.
I just made a decision not to buy it.
Absolutely.
So that's the real power in
Yes.
that. The other thing is, I would say, is your network is your net worth. And we've heard that saying.
Yes.
So you are the average of your 5 closest friends. So if all your friends make $25,000, they have a $25,000 mentality. So that's who you're around every day.
Yes.
So you can't say I want to be a millionaire and everybody around you is just talking about how to pay the gas bill.
Right.
So sometimes we have to elevate and be in rooms and be around people that make us uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So
Ooh.
for us, the word intentional was our word last year.
Yep.
For us, for our firm, and I was intentionally building relationships with people that were far out of my reach financially.
Yes.
Where they were doing 9 figures. They were talking about billion-dollar
Yes.
deals. So I can't teach people how to get $1 million if I ain't touched $1 million.
Right.
Or if I haven't managed $1 million.
Right.
So again, I have to touch $1 billion so I can teach people how to make millions.
Yes.
So again, I would just really encourage people. Be places that make you uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Don't walk in every room where it's like the Cheers effect where everybody knows your name.
Right.
Like,
We talk about that all the
yeah,
time,
so it's
too.
like, it makes you comfortable.
Yeah.
But guess what? Then when you go home, you're just that comfortable. You're
Yeah.
not growing. Nobody's pushing and holding you accountable. So again, I love to go in rooms when they say, LaRese, you don't have access to that? Oh, LaRese, you didn't do that? And I'm like, oh, no, you just gave me some game and just
Yeah.
changed me and my family's life.
Absolutely.
So again, I would tell you too, Meltrice, to you as well as my partner, as we do this work, we have an intentional responsibility to stretch and be stretched.
Yeah.
Because we can't stretch people that depend on us to learn if we stay in the same place.
That's right.
So I tell people, don't think you figured me out, because you haven't.
Nope.
Because as you think you figured me out, I'm always growing.
Changing,
I'm always
evolving.
reading. I'm always experiencing. I'm
Yes.
always traveling to
Yeah.
experience something new. So again, the people you have around you can impact you the most.
Yeah.
What do we say? Even in a negative way. So we don't pay attention to people that we don't love and that aren't close to us.
Yeah.
So that's why your haters, you don't care about them. You don't care about them because they don't come to the family barbecue. They don't come to the family reunion.
Yeah.
So you could care less, or you should care less what they say.
Right.
With the people that are right next to you, you listen to them,
Yeah.
and their word and their perspective really impact you.
And they can be a distraction.
That's right.
And sometimes they don't know that they're even being a distraction.
That's right.
And it's not just about, them influencing you to spend money that you don't have. It's about and I would say that I was liberated from this maybe about 4 or 5 years ago, maybe a slightly longer, but it's about when you've achieved a certain level of success, there's an obligation that you feel in your heart to help the people that are around you, even to your detriment. So I can recall like saving money and struggling to save money so that I can build up this savings and this legacy. And then a family member will call and say, can I borrow? Can I do this? And you're feeling guilty about not giving it to them. And then next thing you know, they got on brand new shoes. Yeah. They smoking weed. They doing all that they can, but they owe you money. Yeah. So it's also about, I don't know, not feeling guilty about achieving a level of success. What would you feel? How do you feel about that? What are your thoughts about that?
I would say don't lend money to people you love. That's the first thing. I don't lend money. So if I give it, it's a seed. Yeah. Because what I don't want to do is fall out with my cousin because, I paid his rent. And again, like you say, I see him on Instagram in Florida the next week.
Right.
And I used to do that.
Right.
And I would look and I would be like, it's hard for you to shake my hand right now and act like you don't owe me money.
Right.
Like, let's talk about that first.
Right.
And then let's talk about what we're here to do.
Yeah.
But let's address the money. So I realized that, I don't want to do that anymore. So if I give it to you, it's a seed.
Yeah.
But now don't believe I'm never gonna give you a seed and don't give you no information too, though.
Right. I feel like if you call me,
we're gonna have a conversation.
Yeah, I'll be like, I'll give you this, but we got to talk about your finances.
That's right. And then the other thing I would say to you, the saying goes is, ain't no fun unless my homie can have some. So what I've tended to do, and I did during the pandemic, and you did it as well, is I would get on Zoom calls with my family and friends.
Me too.
And what I did was I didn't want to just educate the community, because it's one thing for the community, again, not to be morbid, but that dash that's going to be one day on my tombstone.
Yeah.
I want it to mean something.
Yeah,
And I want to
absolutely.
consistently, whoever says, hey, what do you think about that guy, LaRese? I want to be consistent. I don't want you to be
Yeah.
like, oh, he fixed cars well. He owned an accounting firm. They did okay there. He
Yeah.
did this. He did. Now, I want you to say, no, this man was really intentionally trying to impact and change lives fiscally and help people build wealth.
Yes.
So I would say it would be a horrible statement or ish or I would say it would just be a whole
Indictment.
indictment
Yeah.
on me if the community came to the stage and said, man, he changed my life. He did this, he did that. And my own family
Yeah.
is sitting there. I never got to experience what the community
Yes,
experienced.
absolutely.
So not only do I want my kids to speak well of it and say what I taught them and my wife and my mother, but I also want my family to say
Yeah.
we had access. He gave us, as long as we were willing to do the work,
Yes.
we were able to go on the ride with him.
Yes.
So again, I don't want to have that entourage of family because they think I'm getting a bag or whatever, and they just around, and I got to buy them some shoes because I bought some shoes. I want them to be able to buy their own shoes.
Right.
So again, that's real power. And I will say this, I'm going to go back to the husband and wife. A real man, if you're the leader in your house financially, make sure if you left this earth today that she knows how to exist without you.
Yes,
If we are
say it
confident
again.
and we have self-confidence, we want to make sure that person right next to us is built and they're strong and they have
Yes.
all the information. So I tell my wife when I get on her nerves, no, you're going to sit down and listen to this.
Yeah.
I'm going to lead right now. Sit down. We're going to talk through this credit. We're going to talk through these finances. We're going to talk through these investments.
Yeah.
We're going to talk through this will, because if I leave, again, I will not allow that to be an indictment that I didn't truly leave my family a legacy. So again, educate the people around you.
That's amazing. No, educate the people around you. We know in our business how businesses don't transfer to the next generation because of a lack of education or just a lack of passion around the business, but mainly because of a lack of education.
right.
So I think it's really important. We talk about generational wealth and legacy. I'm reminded of a story of a girl that I was coaching, and her father left her millions of dollars, and she squandered it in less than a year.
Yes.
And I told her, your dad would be rolling over in his grave if he knew that he saved his and sacrificed his whole life to leave you this legacy, but because he didn't educate her on how to effectively manage what he was leaving, it was gone in less than a year after he died.
But you know what? That's too. So I did this project. You remember I did this project where I traveled the country. It was a $50 billion initiative to leave wealth.
Yep.
It was a wealth transfer of $50 billion in the Black community. Traveled the country with New York Life, and we did it. We accomplished it. We celebrated on Capitol Hill. And when I stood on the stage at Capitol Hill, people said, LaRese, why are you not smiling right now? I said, the reason I'm not smiling, because that 50 bill could be a trillion. Because our spending power is over
It's
a
over
trillion.
a trillion, absolutely.
But what my fear is, if we don't educate the people we left the 50 billion to, it won't even exist. So on top of just making sure that we got the bag to them, we got to make sure, again, that we help them build the foundation so it can happen for generations. Because less than 30% of businesses get transferred to the second generation, less than 10% to the third generation. So again, we got to make sure we educate
We
people,
got to make
man.
sure we educate people. And we serious about that at CLE.
Oh, my Lord.
You know, I'd be remiss not to talk about it a little bit
Yes.
because we look at people who are really, really successful in their businesses, but truly, truly unsuccessful in their finances.
That's right. That's right.
And what do you think? We talk about how, you know, if you're personally not managing your money correctly, that transfers into your business.
That's right.
So talk a little bit about that.
It is habits begets habits.
Yeah.
So let's be honest. If you have personal bad habits, it's no way you're gonna just all of a sudden get good business habits.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you have good business habits, usually I can go back and say they have great personal habits.
Yeah, yeah,
So in a
that's
lot of
true.
cases, that's why at CLE, we will talk to our clients when we're meeting with them, even though we don't do tax, credit repair, credit repair. So please don't call us about that. We won't help you get your score to 800. We just teach it because we're passionate about it. But we talk about it because we understand as we help you build and put that foundation in place, that we want to make sure that you're holistically
Yeah.
improved financially.
Yeah.
So when we get to going to access to capital, that we don't get there. We got great taxes. We got great, books for them. We got great payroll system in place for them. And then we get to the table, they got bad credit.
Yeah.
Now it's like, I did all that work. I paid you guys this money. I'm not even ready. So we try to look at that whole person.
Yeah.
But again, we have to start there. And that's why we do the assessment, to make sure we ask all the questions,
Yeah.
to make sure that we know them overall as an individual, and we really do a great assessment for them.
And what I like most about what we do too is we are looking at, not just the here and now, but let's build the foundation, like you said, and let's look at what happens when you can't work anymore.
That's right. That's
Like,
right.
we definitely know that that's an issue in our country where people retire, they can't sustain their current lifestyle, so they're working. The fact that I hear older people eating cat food and different things like that, it breaks my heart to hear that. And I think people aren't preparing for their future now.
That's right.
I think people are just living in the now.
Right.
So when I hear people say YOLO,
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I cringe.
That's right.
I cringe.
That's right.
What are your thoughts about
Yeah.
YOLO? You only live once.
I believe that once you create margin,
Yeah.
the key word is margin.
Yeah.
You have to have margin in order to do that. I teach that 50, 20, 30, and people are afraid to have to make adjustments. And I make kids get up and shout it out. But you know what I've been doing lately, and then I'm going to get back to the question, but this is important. When I go, when I travel and I teach, I don't allow kids to introduce themselves to me with their first name. There's no value in that. My son's son may never be named Gavin, but guess what his son will have?
Last name.
Purnell.
Yeah.
So when they come to the stage and they ask me a question, I make them shout their last name out. And again, so they understand their identity, so they see the strength and the power in their last name.
Oh, that's
So
good.
I really push that and emphasize that. But you only live once. I say you only can do that once you have margin and you've set yourself up so you can live only once
Right.
and use that. So it's almost like people say, I'm getting to the bag. People say building wealth, I'm getting that money. Like, what money we get?
Right.
You buying bags and it's empty, all that sort of stuff. You driving, the Range Rovers and you pulling up to someplace you rent. You got a Land Rover in your mom's driveway.
Right,
like,
right.
So what we doing here?
If you
So
can't buy
again,
more than once, you don't need it.
yeah. So again, it's like my wife will tell you when we go to the mall, and she will tell you emphatically. One time, her 401k payment did not hit it didn't come out of our account, and I noticed it. And she's like, "Hey, babe, I want to go up here. We got this event or whatever." And I was like, This is how emphatically I live this. I said, babe, that 401k payment didn't come out. Like we got to pay ourselves first.
Yeah.
Now we have margin, we have money in our savings
Yeah,
and all that.
yeah.
But this is when we first got married. I wanted her to understand how important that is.
Right.
That we pay ourselves first.
Absolutely.
We can't go live and down there dropping a bag on some stuff, and then we ain't even paid ourselves
Yeah.
first. So again, now it's like she makes sure that payment come out. She makes
So she
sure
can shop.
so she can look, so
Yeah.
she can steal. But again, once you set yourself up and you have that margin, it allows you to take those vacations. It
Yeah.
allows you to do those nice, drive those nice cars. But my mentor one day said something to me, and I thought it was very valuable, Meltrice. He said, "You can't have everything." And he probably, has done probably, I would say, close to 9 figures, and then he's probably in net worth at this point in his life. And he said, "I can't have everything. I can't have the yacht. I can't have the mansions. I can't have all the nice clothes. I can't have all the nice cars, and then still leave a legacy." And I was like, man, it kind of baffled me. I'm like, but you can afford all that. And he's like, no, because the money I'm building is for generations. He said Warren Buffett still lives in the same house in his neighborhood that's worth less. I mean, it's worth, the value of it is worth less than $1 million, and this man is a multi-billionaire. So he said because he will only live off of less than 10% of his income, he gives away 90%. So he said you got to ask yourself, what are you really doing it for? And again, freedom has responsibility.
It does. It does. I can drop the mic on that one. Freedom has responsibilities. Alexis asked me, why am I doing this? I'm like, because I want people to, first, I want people to avoid some of the pitfalls that I experienced, but I want people to enjoy what it means to be financially satisfied. And satisfaction is not a one size fits all, but it's about time for us to stop being consumers, and becoming owners and generating wealth and taking back our communities.
Yes.
And there's a responsibility for that.
Right. That's right.
And it belongs to all of us. And we can't be so concerned about the here and now that we forget about our old self.
Right.
That's going to be knocking at that door. Because I was in a conversation with somebody recently, and I'm like, as much as I love my daughter, when I'm older, I want to be set up in a nice senior living home where somebody's being paid to care for me. I don't want my grandchildren or my great grandchildren jumping on me, dressing me, putting me on wigs and putting me on makeup and come on, mama, we got to take you. That ain't how I envision.
Leaving you in the bathtub all day, dropping you off like, I'll be right back.
Me sitting down watching TV all day, like, no, because I didn't think about my old self. That's going to be knocking on my door soon. I have to consider her.
Yeah, that's your living will. So what we do is we think about a lot of after death. Mm-hmm. So life insurance is after death.
Yeah.
So of course, our role is while we're here on earth is to put things in place. So I'll give you a little game that I share with people now is my life insurance, and I'll say it publicly. Mm-hmm. Gabby and Gavin will not get everything at one time.
Oh, mine either. I establish a trust.
It literally is in stages based on maturity. Mm-hmm. And certain things they have to accomplish to get certain things. So I have triggers in it.
Yes.
So I work too hard for them just to say, here it is for you.
Yep.
And so they will even take pride when they take the money that's a part of our legacy, our family's legacy.
Yes.
So again, just teaching them even through that giving. But again, I would say a lot of people do set up for, once they start to make it and they have margins and they put away for the future. But what about while you're living?
Yeah.
Like, I would be honest, I want to be a blessing to my family members even while I'm here.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure I have margin so I just don't leave them all the money, but I get to say, hey, Gabby, I want to buy you and your husband's first house. I'm going to pay for your wedding. I'm going to pay for your college. So, the sacrifice I'm making today, you won't have any debt. So that's a part of my legacy now that my children will leave college with no debt.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love it. We can go on and on about this.
Yes.
And we usually do.
Oh, yes.
We'd be like, let's have a meeting about the business. And then we
talk about everything but the business.
Later, we're like, all right, we need to get to our agenda about business. No, this has been an awesome ride with you, partner, growing CLE. We started off, it was just me, you, Joyce.
That's right.
And Greg.
That's right.
And now we have 16 employees and growing through all of our learning and successes and failures. This has been an amazing ride. But as we close, what are some of the dumb things you spend money on?
No, I'm going to answer your question, but I'm gonna take the privilege to make sure I say this because I don't get to say this very often. That I am extremely, extremely proud of you. I watch you every day do the things that you do, the sacrifices you make for our business, for your family, as a wife, as a mother, as a grandmother, as a community leader. I just want you to know that the work that you're going to do is God is going to give you everything that you need to impact many lives. So just stay focused, steadfast at what you do, and I promise you, you are going to build a legacy, and your name is truly going to mean something even when we're gone. So again, I thank you. I'm honored to work with you every day. And so just keep doing what you do, and just know, like you said, you got my back, I got your back. Even when the enemy comes, don't worry about nothing. All we got to do is stay focused on him, and we're going to be okay. So I spend dumb money on I spend because I love my family so much. Mm-hmm. Everything you see me, my wife dresses me, and I'm just being funny.
She does a good job,
but she does. She literally, because that's her thing. She got accepted into Kent State, and she had a child young and didn't realize it. This is why I do what we do. That Kent was actually closer than she thought. She thought it was too far from St. Clair, and she's like, I can never get out there. Now that we live right around the corner from Kent State, she's like, it's right here. I can okay. And had a full ride that she stepped away from for the fashion school there. So she likes to do that, but I like to give my family and the people around me. I'm a giver.
You are.
So it's like,
You are
because
a
I
giver.
work all day,
Yeah.
my wife always says, you don't ever spend money on yourself. I give her money, I give my kids money,
Yeah.
I buy people gifts. Like, that's what I like to do, you
Yeah.
know? So it really, I would just say eating out.
Yeah.
Eating out, and you might catch me at all the sports games.
Yeah.
Like, I love to eat out. I'm a restaurateur.
Yes.
So I when I say I love to try new things, and I do got a couple dope places in Cancun and Vegas and New York that are the best restaurants in the country.
You gotta let me know about them.
Yes.
No, but this has been awesome. This has been awesome. I appreciate you. Again, Lexus was my first, but you had to be. You had to be my second.
I appreciate it.
So just appreciate everything that you do. I tell people all the time, like, I am spoiled because my life partner spoils me and my business partner spoils me.
That's right.
I'm the luckiest woman in the world. But no, thank you for coming on. I look forward to this journey together. God bless you.
Thank you.
Alrighty, so thank you for tuning in to this episode of Money Motivations with Meltrice. I hope you got everything out of this that I did, and I hope you'll tune in next time. Take care. Thank you for listening to this episode of Money Motivations with Meltrice. Building your generational wealth starts today. Like and subscribe so we can spread knowledge and build wealth. Connect with me at meltricesharp.com and on all my social media platforms.